All right, everybody. Plot twist. A little bit of a plot twist here. At the end of my previous video, just a handful of minutes ago, I said that it looked like we hadn't tendered anybody else, which meant that we were not going to keep guys like Darrell Taylor. We weren't going to keep guys like Ty Okada, guys like Brady Russell. Well, as it turns out, I spoke just a little bit too soon on at least some of that, possibly all of it, but it looks like information about the tenders that we offered are coming out after the start of free agency, and it looks like we have actually done some stuff. Like, for instance, it was announced that we did tender Brady Russell. Brady Henderson actually announced that. We tendered him. I believe the amount on the tender for him is $915,000, which that's totally fine, obviously. He's a third string tight end. That's third string tight end money. He will probably not make it to the season with that tender amount. I imagine we withdraw it at some point if we can. But just in case we can't find another tight end, we can keep him around for a little bit here. So that's totally fine. But this video, mainly, I want to talk about something very surprising that has been announced over the last couple of minutes here. And I was waiting to see if we would get details, but we haven't yet. But I feel like I need to say something about this because this is going to be a surprise to a lot of people. The Seahawks have re-signed, not tendered. They have re-signed Darrell Taylor. They have re-signed Darrell Taylor. We don't know exactly what, we don't know exactly how, but the Seattle Seahawks have decided to keep him around as the presumable fourth edge. So, first of all, this pretty much closes the door on adding to the edge room, I think. Because again, if this was a tender that you put on Taylor, you could lift it at any time, pretty much. Can't do that now. You can't lift the Taylor when you lift the tender on Taylor when you don't use it. So you're kind of committed to him for at least this one season. So I don't see any way we can add to the edge room now. So I don't think a lot of people wanted to anyway, but in case you were thinking about that, that kind of closes the door on it. So there's that. The second part is, I mean, Darrell Taylor is not that good, right? Like Darrell Taylor, he was a guy that a lot of people were sick of and happy to be potentially moving off of. But this move tells me that somebody in this club really likes him. Maybe it's Mike McDonald. Maybe he showed up and was like, no, 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 I can get great stuff out of this guy. Let's keep him around. I will figure it out. Trust me. But at the end of the day, before I can really pass judgment here, because, I mean, I agree with those sentiments, right? Darrell Taylor is not that good of a player. Darrell Taylor is a very frustrating player. And despite him putting up good numbers over the last several years, I think that a lot of people kind of feel like it would be a relief to have him off the team. I'm not necessarily one of those people, but here's what I'm going to say about the re-signing of Taylor. If it's more than the tender amount, I think that sucks. Even if you like him, just tender him and see how it works for 1 year under McDonald, unless you got a deal here. So whenever we get the details on this contract, if it's like 1 year, 3 million or less, then okay. Well, no problem with that. That's less than the tender amount. And while it is a little bit more committing, it also saves a little bit of cap space. And you could potentially leverage that cap space into something else. And you get 1 more year of a relatively young player for cheap who does offer some desirable skill sets. If it's more than the tender, that's a problem. And there was one guy who trolled on X that it's 3 years, 24 million. That would just kill me. That would just kill me if it's 3 years, 24. But that was a troll. There was another thing I saw that said it was 2 years, 5.7 million. That would be okay. 2 years, 5.7. That's less than 3 million per year. That would be fine. But again, that's kind of the line I'm drawing here. If it's less than the tender amount, which I think was about 3.1 million, or call it 3 million, then fine. But if it's more than that, I'm just confused. Even if you like him, exercise the tender when you have the ability to. Like, you as an NFL organization have weapons that you utilize in negotiating with your players. Don't be afraid to use them. Even if you like him, then like him on your own time, right? Like, don't like him and then give him a bunch of stuff that you don't need to give him before you need to give it to him. So, interested to see where this goes. I'll make another video later today when we find out contract details. But yeah, I'm sorry. Brady Russell is back, but Darrell Taylor is back, and that's definitely the talk of the town right now. I didn't think there was any way he was going to come back after they said they didn't tender him. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks, and to be determined on this one. But if it's more than $3 million a year, then I'm going to object to that pretty strongly. I got to be honest.